It's so fun to watch that anxiety becomes passion when it's integrated. When the circuitry is there for that energy to flow, is anxiety is just this energy, this passionate energy that doesn't know where to go. So it just sits and rumbles right in the gut, right in the solar plexus area. And so if we give it a route, if we give it a place to truly travel, it begins to actually contribute to that ascension toward transcending or transforming the primitive brain's function. Oh, welcome back to the Art of Awakening podcast, where the art of living awake becomes a daily practice. I'm your host, Dr. Sue Morter, and today we have a very special guest, Dr. Christian Gonzalez, also known as Dr. G. He is a naturopathic doctor, founder of Emotional Liberation Method, co-founder of the Integrative Psychology Institute, and host of Heal Thyself podcast. And his work bridges science and somatic healing, focusing on the connection between trauma, the nervous system, fascia, and cellular health. And he's also a friend of a family member of mine who I met as I came onto his podcast. And we just hit it off so much that I wanted to, bring him over here to our entire community so that you guys could meet this amazing guy too. So Dr. G, welcome.
Thank you for that beautiful intro. I felt the energy, I felt the vibes, and I'm ready for a really good podcast right
now. Me too. So I'm so glad to have you here. And, we had such a beautiful conversation on your podcast, diving into energy medicine and the body's ability to heal from within. And of course, I want to continue that conversation here and in all directions that you love to go as well. For those meeting you for the first time, if you could just share a little bit with our listeners, just about your journey, about what led you into this deeper work with trauma and the body to begin with.
It's been many years of looking for really where the roots of disease lie, right? And I think that inevitably everyone in the healing arts wants that. We want to look for what is the deepest, most efficient way to help the person who is in front of me, right? Whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, relationally, people are in persistent suffering. So there's been many iterations of what that looks like. Right out of school, I kicked down the nutrition door and I came in hot, and I was going left and right about eating this and this, don't eat this, and watch out for these pesticides and watch out for these plastics. It all matters. Not to say it doesn't matter, but there's been so many parts of health and wellness that have been explored by many different people, including me. And my specialty wasn't cancer. It was oncology. I have a personal experience. My mom died of breast cancer in 2011. And being in that world for so long, you start asking questions. Okay. You start asking in the hospitals, it's like, okay, how do we treat this? How does the patient survive? Let's do the radiation, chemo. We can do immunotherapy. We could do surgery, all the things. The truth is that we don't really ask ourselves, why did this person get cancer? Maybe we look at the genetics, we ask them about a little bit about alcohol and lifestyle, but there's more to it. And you and I both know that there is more to it. There really is. Not just cancer, disease, physical disease, mental health disease. And so the passion started to ignite when I saw, wait a minute, there are doors that we're not looking at in all diseases, in just medicine as a whole. I started looking deeper. And what it started to unravel and show is that the body has a language, the body's communicating. When we understand how to move away from all the stories and the ego and drop into what is deeper, what wants to be seen, what wants to be connected with, everyone has their own innate healer. And it's incredible because when we teach people how to listen to what's inside of them, they have a guide. And that guide is guiding them exactly. Maybe you shouldn't eat broccoli. Maybe you should go with spinach today. Oh, wow. Okay. I just got a message, spinach. My body's talking to me. Spirit's talking to me. Whatever's talking to me. And what a gift to activate that healer. Because I've seen people connect with that and then their lives begin to change physically, mentally, emotionally, relationally. That's true empowerment. For me, that's medicine. Healers help other people remember the healer within. And that's sort of what it's led me into, this world of somatics, nervous system, energy, frequency, the stuff that we love.
Mm. Beautiful. Well, you're definitely singing my song, and I know that
Mhm.
our audience is very, very attuned to
Mhm.
what you are saying. Definitely going to resonate with the fact that it is the underlying reality, that underlying realm that we have really drawn ourselves up and out and away from, which is what has us getting so sick and
Mhm.
being in this mysterious world where we think that we're out of control and we have no say and we have to be afraid of what diagnosis is coming down the path in our direction. And all the while we're recognizing, and I love that you're just starting off with this piece, is that we have to drop back down into and listen and be present with the signals and the signs and the language
Yes.
of the truth. And that deeper truth is what people are seeking on every level, whether it's a diagnosis on a physical level or just their angst and the anger that is propelling them out in the world to operate and behave in the ways that people are these days. And so I'm so thrilled that we get to drop in
Mm.
from your perspective as well into this deeper, rich understanding of what it's all about.
Mhm.
So when you are working with people in this way, how do you begin to help people understand that what they're feeling is not the problem, but that it's simply the body attempting to communicate
Mhm.
something deeper? What are some of the things that that we can do initially when you're working with someone to get them to connect those dots?
Healing is so much about relationships. And I think that we lose track of our relationship with ourself, with our body, with its signals. And we look outside of us, and people are so good at looking outside of them. They've follow everyone who is within the realm of what they're suffering with. And they've read blogs. They've went through AI and tried to figure everything out, right? They have therapists. They're trying to figure something out with a consciousness that is outside of them, or that is a consciousness that someone else is going to come save me. The truth is that internally, that internal healer is wanting, waiting, screaming through symptoms. Hey, pay attention here. Look here, right? We have an internal door and someone's knocking really hard, but we're so good at looking at all the other doors that we're trying to open desperately, trying to figure it out. And so how? It's really through Dr. Sue. It's really about connecting people back to the language of their body, moving the awareness away from the head. And it's tough for people because their identity has been the result of all the compensations of their life, that they've looked to create and experience love more and more and more. What version of me can I be that I get more love from dad and mom and brother and sister and teacher and coach and friends and boyfriend and girlfriend, everyone, right? All of the versions of us become our identity. And so really what we work against is our identity, the version of us that we believe ourselves to be. Ironically, the identity that we create oftentimes drives the disease we experience. It has to, right? The identity of our relationship to ourself and our relationship to other people. For example, if someone is not allowed to express anger in their household because they had an abusive father or a narcissistic mother, their anger was not being able to be held by the people that they love. They had to repress, they had to hold it back. Maybe they want to be a burden. Maybe they learn how to be a people pleaser. They lived in anxiety, people pleasing, abandonment in relationships, definitely abandonment at work, abandonment in all of your life. That creates really, really anxious expressions. That creates a repression in the body of the nervous system so stuck. The gut, oftentimes these people have gut issues, right? Because all that anger is stuck in the gut. The body's doing its best to hold it in, and it's right around the gut. They can have liver issues. So the body's expressing as disease physically something that has been boiling years before. And so really it's about, how do we teach people to drop into the body, connect into the body, move away from the identity that, oh, I'm a people pleaser, or I need to abandon myself, and I can drop into my body and see what the body has to show. The moment we teach people how to drop into the body, it unravels. The moment it unravels, it begins to show what's there truly beyond what we think cognitively. and things begin to change. Relationship with the body gets deeper. Listening to the inner healer gets deeper. The gifts come online. The purpose comes online. Oh, by the way, physically you start feeling better. Why? Because the body is finally doing what it's been wanting you to do. The only thing that's been blocking it is your identity, the person that you believed yourself to be in compensation to parts of you that have been repressed throughout your life.
Hmm. Beautiful. So I feel like I'm talking to myself. This is amazing. This is so very fun. Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful to hear that you're arriving at these, these truths, these connections in your neck of the woods. It's just so
Mm,
fabulous. So when you begin to show someone that they are needing to connect these dots, needing to sit down inside this healer within and enliven it, what are some of the ways that you first, once somebody says, okay, I get it. I've been looking outside of myself. I've been giving my power away.
mhm.
I've been trying to resonate and connect with other people who are also in this symptomatic state. And, I could actually be spending my time, my minutes, cultivating some different version of myself instead. So how, they look to you, Dr. G,
Mhm.
how do I do that? What do I
Mhm.
do to
Yeah.
begin to actually live through this different language and in this connection between the mind body?
Yeah. That's a that's the question, right? The people, they go, okay, what do I do now? It's about consistency and curiosity. You have to every single day, just like you go to the gym, rebuild the connection between the mind and the body. The mind and the body connection is called interoception. There's a part of your brain called the limbic system where you learn how to survive, where you learn how to be hypervigilant, where you learn how to dissociate, where you learn how to block off really poor memories or painful memories. That part of your brain precedes the prefrontal cortex. That prefrontal cortex is what's making executive decisions. That prefrontal cortex is what's creating your identity to protect you. And so, if you're living in both, right? You're thinking, overthinking, where can I get to the root? When am I going to realize that one thing that is finally going to heal everything? I'll give you a little secret. It ain't ever going to happen. One thing is not going to heal everything. It's in your body, right? So how do we quiet that? Of course, you and I love meditation. We talk about meditation. There's a reason why meditation works. It's because the prefrontal cortex quiets down. The limbic system quiets down. The deeper, more connected, more ubiquitous part of you that is connected and feeling into everything, right? The God state comes on. Great. That's an awesome practice. Keep meditating for everyone who meditates. And can you meditate into your body? What about your body? Can you actually drop in before or after your meditation and feel, what does it feel like to have a toe? How about on your left side? What does your right ankle feel like? How about your left knee? Can you actually begin to create a relationship with the sensations that not are only arising, that have been there most likely all of your life? The more that you bring curiosity and knock on the door of the body, the more the body reveals. Why? Though I always think of the body like a neglected dog that was abused and neglected in a way, or even, yeah, abused by many people. We've drank, we've ate crappy foods, we've let people cross our boundaries, yeah, and abused too. But neglected for sure. We've left our awareness away from the body, went to our head. So the hardest part about this practice is quieting the mind so you can feel your body. Because before you before you know it, you'll go on your right knee and then all your awareness will go up to your head again. And you're going to think, okay, what am I going to do later? What about dinner? What about taxes? What about that date that I'm going to go on? You start thinking about everything. So can you, through practice, go, here it is. My head is going. That's protection. The ego is on. The cortex is on. The identity is on. I'm trying to protect myself from feeling what's in the body. Let me take a breath and drop back in. Breath is a wonderful way of slowing things down too, right? But ultimately is creating interoception, the thing that all of us as kids were incredible at. We felt everything in our body. We knew when something was off before we can even put words to it. We need to connect back to our body so our body shows us what is real, what is true. Not the things that the doctors on Instagram or the blog says. What is true for you? What does your body want? Because it could be completely different than what you ever believed. Dropping into the body, consistently feeling with curiosity, not trying to solve anything, but can you be with that pain that is arising in your right hip? Let me just go with that pain. I'm going to be with you. Can you be with the anxiety that is arising in your left belly? I'm going to come connect with you. I'm not going to change you. I have no agenda other than sitting on a bench with the anxiety monster, or sitting on the bench with the anger monster, or just the pain monster, or the tingling monster, or whatever it is. Whatever visual helps. You're just being with it. Here's the beautiful part. The more that you learn how to be with those parts of you through sensation and under that emotion that are arising, oh, the more that that neglected dog goes, okay, I can eat food out of your hand. Oh, I'll let you pet my left ear, but not my right. Okay, now my right ear. Now you can pet my head. Now you can pet my body. The dog opens up. The body opens up. For all the years that you've neglected the body, it opens up and it goes, hi, you've been knocking on this door. It's been 30 days straight. This is the 31st day. I'm going to reveal another something to you that's happening. Oh my God, this memory. Oh my God, this pain. And then can you lean into what is there? This is the hard part for people. If the anxiety is going, you start feeling tingling on day 10, on day 30, you start feeling really, really a lot of pressure. And on day 40, it's an anxiety attack. Can you be with what's there? You're not going to die. Can you be with what the body's showing you? Because when you're in the body, it will never give you more than it can handle. Allowing the body to unfold and being with it. So you begin to hit new levels of interoception, connection to your body, new levels of revealing what's in there, new levels of processing and ultimately integrating. So your identity starts to soften up and you become a new person on the outside. It all begins on the inside. That's the beauty of the body. It's been trying to do that. We've held it down since we were kids. What I'm trying to do is bring people back to the body and listen what's there. And that's through these somatic curiosity, connection-based meditations.
And so what do you think that the actual mechanism is that is revealing this information? So we're listening. What are we listening to? We're listening to the body. We're seeing and sensing and feeling resistances or nuances. What do you recognize the mechanism of that reveal to be?
I like this question because now my science brain is coming on, right? And I really can appreciate this a lot, Dr. Sue, because there's no laid out mechanism, and I have my theory. There's no laid out mechanism of what happens when you go into the body and it starts unraveling, and then you express emotions and it integrates. Where does it go? How do you measure an emotion? How many cc's of emotion are in the leg and the arms and the chest and the belly and the back? What I believe in all the years that I've done this is that the fascia plays an important role. The fascia is not only the encasing of our bones and our muscles and our blood vessels and our nerves, but it's everywhere. Fascia touches everything in our body. It is collagenous tissue. It is electric and it is magnetic. Just like the heart is magnetic and the nervous system firing off is electric, it's both. That means it works really fast and it also can sense the environment. So when your spidey sense is tingling, it's coming through your fascia to the nervous system, to the brain, back out to the fascia. So people can walk by someone in the street. Let's say, Dr. Sue, you and I are walking. We just got coffee. We had a great conversation. We're walking. And this woman passes me and she has this perfume. And this perfume was of an ex-girlfriend who was really a terrible ex-girlfriend to me. Before I know it, my belly can be contracting because the part of me that has been unprocessed in that relationship, the anger that I never allowed myself to show, will all of a sudden tense up. And then I'll start having back pain, my diaphragm. I'll feel like my asthma is coming on, or I'll feel my gut issues come online. It's the fascia reacting to the environment. So not only is it sensing environment, it's sensing our movement. It's sensing pressure. It's sensing tension. It's sensing what we see. The fascia is intelligent. We don't know what the heck it does in medicine other than encase your tissues and move vibration so your bones don't break and help with movement and gliding. We don't know, but there is a consciousness that I believe Chinese medicine got right years ago, the meridian systems where energy or God or consciousness flows. I believe it goes through the fascia because we don't fully understand it. There's parts of it that are still mysteries. We're like, why does it have this? Why does it have this tissue? What is the point of this? But there is a point. It's never anything that is not a point in the body. And so the fascia, I believe, does the job of not only bringing awareness to what's around us, but also protecting us when we want to express. If you have surgery, cuts into the fascia, there'll be a scar. The energy is not going to be able to flow. I've seen it in different imaging. You can see the heat moving through the body, and right where there's surgery, or where my actually tattoos, I have a lot of tattoos, it's moving around it like a river moving around stone. It's very interesting. The
Mhm.
same with emotions. When you hold, the fascia has a distortion. So much like the people who are viewing this, if I'm winding my finger around my shirt, it's pulling. We have the experience of the fascia when we get a massage and someone touches our right trap and our left face starts tingling, or we feel it on our left temple. That's the pulling of the fascia all over. It's one piece. The same goes with emotion. Not only physical trauma, injuries, scars, tattoos, but what about when you're not allowed to express that anger? Where does it go? It's got to go somewhere. It's got to go somewhere. It comes out as anxiety, but the rest of it comes out somewhere else. Or it also comes out as avoidance. The rest of it has to go somewhere else. It goes in the body. The fascia distorts. Fascia distorts. It dehydrates and distorts over and over and over. That's a mechanism to disease. That drives disease. The fascia that's not gliding open, allowing energy through nervous system, blood flow, consciousness move through it. What the heck? So it's distorted. So my theory is when someone connects to the body, the part of the body where there's distortion, the nervous system, the awareness goes to that part of the body, and through continuous curiosity, connecting, it begins to bring blood flow, energy, quote unquote, however we want to call it. There's more awareness there, and it begins to activate it. It's connected to the part of your brain called the insula, the part of the brain that is really driving interoception. And so finally, that part of the brain that is protecting itself sends the signal that it's safe to unravel that fascia. It unravels. Oftentimes we have memories. We have just somatic reactions, heat, contortion, screaming, crying. Something that is bigger than the moment starts happening, something deep. And that's when all of that distortion starts releasing, and all of that information or crystallized crap in there starts coming out. I think that's the mechanism. I think it's a
Mhm.
fascial limbic system, insula, back to the fascia, and then there's a rehydration of the fascia. The blood flow happens. Oh, it starts taking over. The blood flow moves. You can move the body. People often get up off the table and they move their body and they go, "Oh my God, I feel the best I've ever felt. I feel everything feels like it's flowing." Of course, it feels like it's
Mhm.
flowing. We removed a giant boulder from the river.
Mhm. Yeah, this is what we're doing with bioenergetics in terms of really working with the energy flow through the body, knowing that one of the first layers that it will influence is the fascia because of its fluidity, because of its connective. Really, it's a communication matrix throughout the whole
Yeah.
body. And
Yeah.
so, by compressing certain areas and waiting for this pulsation that we know is designed to be flowing throughout the whole body equally in a synchronized fashion, as we're working with that, and we start to feel pulsations show up differently in different parts of the body, out of synchronization, until we hold these points and they start to synchronize, and we have
Mm.
now a communication being reestablished throughout this entire matrix in
Mm.
the system. And so it's so wonderful to see. My father was in this research back in the 70s and the
Mhm.
80s, and
Mhm.
way before anybody was really talking about energy medicine and these kinds of things. And so it's so wonderful to see that from so many directions people are arriving in this place of real recognition of how we begin to approach holistically our well-being, our whole full expression as humans. Um, when you are in this conversation and you're talking about the fascia now, what happens when now somebody realizes I need to do some fascia, massage. I need to go get some. I need to work on my fascia, because it can so easily become another pieces and parts approach to our wholeness, even though we're getting deeper. And now we're not looking to, okay, what's the next medication I need to take? Or we're not looking to, is it my genetic inheritance? Now we're looking deeper. We're having this introspective ability. We're internally oriented instead of externally dispersed, and we're coming in. We're now learning about these new terms, new aspects of the body that maybe people weren't aware of. And what I want to ensure people don't do is now just pick up this new part and try to go make it be the be all answer to everything without really understanding the big picture. And so we know that science is showing us that our entire reality is based in consciousness, so that we're actually projecting this reality here collectively, and we're all walking around inside of this agreed upon reality. And so consciousness is playing a major role underneath all this. So can you just kind of reiterate, or maybe focus in a little bit on what's the relationship between consciousness and my connective tissue matrix, my fascia layer, and how do I maintain a big picture awareness as I'm learning about this new ingredient in the recipe?
Ingredient in the recipe is right. That's it. It's not, now let me spend thousands of dollars on fascial massages and fascial stretches and fascial tools. Again, it always comes back to, this is a relational healing. There's something relational inside of you that has been disconnected, and connection is the word. Connection is the word for healing. Can you connect to your body? Can you connect to God? Can you connect to consciousness, nature? Can you connect to others and feel safe? For me, the boulders that block God from flowing through the body, through the fascia, through our senses, like individualized into us as humans, still connected, is through the fascia, through the nervous system, right? And I think this is what we were talking about at our podcast. It's like, there's like the right through our fingers, we can't put our fingers there, we can't measure it, ethereal space of the energetics, God consciousness, and it materializes through the body's expression. But where's that first bridge? And I really believe it's nervous system and fascia. It's there. The consciousness flows. I always say intuition is in the fascia. It's the way that God or consciousness speaks to you through you. It's all there. It's the memories there. The words are there. The sounds are there. Yeah, we're receivers, but we're sucking up that reception through what? Our fascial network. It's buzzing. The nervous system and the fascia. They're talking. And so, and this has been true clinically. It's like, I've seen this work as we peel back the layers that are blocking us from experiencing our body, truly just first our body, our connection, like, oh my God, my elbow feels like this, and there's pain, and I feel open, I feel joy, I'm starting to feel more like myself, quote unquote. They start saying things like that. It's because we're taking these giant boulders that have not allowed the energy consciousness to flow through the fascia. So as we take these boulders out, the flow moves, and all of a sudden, consciousness gets louder. Your intuition gets louder. Inspiration gets louder. Creativity gets louder. Connection gets deeper. Why? Because you're just moving all the crap that we've created over our lives to allow it to flow through us. I mean, there's been people who've made life decisions based on the intuition that has come through after these sessions. And in those life decisions, it has changed not only their relationship, but also next step, what about their work? And then they start asking questions. Wait, why do I work at this job? What's my purpose? Well, I don't know. I just feel like something's coming through that has to do with something artistic with my hands. Great. Go explore that, if at the very least as a hobby right now. Because without the identity being so contracted, we have this contracted identity. It's like we were born playing all the keys on the piano, and then over time we've gotten more and more closer to the center, and now we allow ourselves to play just this really low note. It's not that low, but it's right in the middle, and not too high, right in the middle. And it's crazy because the world needs the versions of us that play all of the notes. That means all of the beautiful darkness integrated into all the beautiful light, with consciousness flowing through you, inspiring you, not only just for what you're doing in life or doing in relationship, but every day there's someone passing through you What are you connected enough with your body that you hear something inside of you say hi to this person? Do you feel intuition coming through you saying, hey, make eye contact with this person and smile? That's going to change their day. That's God talking to you through you, but without the identity being loose, the body being open, you're not receiving. You're receiving sort of like, those old school receiver and the TVs that you only have a few channels. We got a HD cable system across the board, fiber optic network, and we're only using it like it's an analog TV from the 70s. No, 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 that's not the move anymore. But we have ways of opening up the system, and this is what my interest is. How do we open up the system so consciousness comes in?
Hmm. Do you think that we are here to learn to survive more easily, or are we creating our obstacles in order to evolve in some way?
The latter. I would say the
Yeah.
latter is more true. You know,
And
on the soul level, my I have a wonderful partner, and she has been dealt an awesome set of cards in life. Not a lot of trials, not a lot of tribulations. Wonderful family. They love her. Their nervous system is regulated. Great siblings. Grew up in abundance, And if you think of all those things and go to the opposite way, that's how I grew up.
yeah.
And the cards that she was dealt have given her all of the tools and experiences that she needs to go through life to really embody her purpose. And she's doing things that she loves, and it's beautiful, but it's not fully in the context of pain. A lot of my work is in pain, and I think a lot of people in the healing arts have had, kind of tough cards dealt. But how can we hold other people's darkness without going through our own pain? And so, yeah, like, it's not about survivability. It's about, okay, listen, I can't prove this, but look, the soul is here, and it's creating these conditions, and we use our free will, and we're dancing with life, and life happens, and it's okay. But really, I remember I read Conversations with God, and this always stuck with me. Who are you choosing to be in relation to that experience? Right? So I may have had a shitty hand of cards, but who am I choosing to be now as an adult? I could be a victim, or I can say, okay, all of that pain, I'm going to recognize it within myself, see it, feel it, embody, and know that it can be integrated to light. And then I'm going to be able to see the darkness, the deepest darkness in people, even the muddiest, muckiest, darkest, really most painful stuff. I could be with that now, right? Because I think my soul led me here since I was a kid. And then my partner, my soul led her somewhere else since she was a kid with the cards that she was given. And that's sort of the way that I look at it. It's like we got our cards dealt, and who are we in relation to those experiences or that experience?
Hmm. Yeah. So oftentimes I ask people, who would you be if you had never had that challenge? If you hadn't spent the first half of your life, in the face of really trying to overcome it or deal with it or handle it or manage it, who would you be today if you weren't using your resources in that direction? What would you be creating? What would you have become? Because that is your destiny. And so, what the quantum world is showing us is that we could actually just start selecting this and allowing ourselves to really lean into the creation of that, the manifestation of that version of ourselves without having to struggle. I mean, the struggle helps us understand, its place, and how we come to know ourselves in the face of the struggle or the resistance is a way of learning about us. And the quantum world is telling us that we could actually also come to know ourselves without having to establish these pain patterns or these repetitive patterns in our lives that keep attracting in order to try to resolve something, from our past. That there's another entirely different orientation that we could start from, a different starting point, which is to really operate as this creative essence on the planet and be generative instead of
Yeah.
reactive and survival based.
Yeah. And the survival base is is the very thing that will create disease. It has to, because the nervous system is in survival. It's using all its resources for short-term bursts of survival until it's exhausted. And then the nervous system in exhaustion, guess what? Immune system's in exhaustion. Now we're talking cancer, right? The blood pressure is up and then it's exhausted. The heart's exhausted. The liver's exhausted. The organs are exhausted. And a lot of us are living even past that survival. We're tired. The body's tired. The cells are tired. And it's because, like you said, we're not generating. We're in survival. We've been in it too long. And until we witness the parts of us that are keeping us in survival, right? The fear that I'm not enough, won't have enough, the fear that when we went through that hard time with a family, okay, therefore I have to survive to just even get my basic needs met. How many people are living like that, right? The anger that's repressed, the fear of just expressing your own power, really, not in a disproportionate toxic way. We're talking about just witnessing the intensity within you so you can show up with your bigness and your voice and command attention, right? And the sadness and the guilt people hold. How can we open our hearts to life? How can we open our hearts to God without even feeling how much gunk is in our heart? All of this matters. All of it. Shame. How can we have a sexual, intimate relationship with not only our partnership, but like the world and nature? How can we feel things in life? How can we create art without witnessing our shame? All of these things matter. And all of those things are big boulders that keep us in survival. And until we look at those boulders and go, whoa, okay, I love you. You can be here. I'm ready to witness you. You feel it, and then you integrate it. Wow. These chunks of boulders move, more flow, more energy, less survival. The fatigue, the exhaustion comes back up. You get better. You start going back into, actually, it's funny because people will go from like heavy depressive states of like sluggishness into anxiety. If someone goes, I was depressed, now I'm anxious, I go, that's good. At least you're generating some more stuff. Now you're moving through that, and now you're going to be a version of you that you've never even believed yourself to be. And that's in full connection with consciousness, listening to intuition, being creative, feeling connected to yourself. And my God, people, those are the gifts. And like, if I ever wanted something for as a healer, I wish I could press a button and everyone could experience that. And not to say I'm experiencing it every day, it's work, but like I'm better than I was a year ago and a year before that, and definitely 3 years ago, so I feel very confident in this work and guiding people just like you have, just like you've with the bioenergetics, all of it.
Yeah, it's so fun to watch that anxiety becomes passion when it's integrated. When the circuitry is there for that energy to flow, is anxiety is just this energy, this passionate energy that doesn't know where to go.
Yeah.
So it just sits and rumbles right in the
Yeah.
gut, right in the solar plexus
Yeah.
area. And so if we give it a route, if we give it a place to truly travel, it begins to actually contribute to that ascension toward transcending or transforming the primitive brain's function and up into these higher brain centers and where we're supposed to be living,
Exactly.
all the while.
Exactly. Because you're right. A lot of us are living in that limbic system. That's the survival. We're hypervigilant.
Yeah.
We can't go outside without looking left and right, thinking that something's going to jump on us the moment we walk out of our door. That is true survival. You're going to be in anxiety all the time. How do we bring it up to those centers where they can integrate as part of a new version of you? That's really the mechanistic work behind all of this work in many different ways that we do it.
So you mentioned that you were the opposite of your partner in your history and your upbringing or your life experiences. Can you just share like how it felt to you in the body when you were actually transforming or transmuting some of these boulders into, some form of resistance in your life into a more surrendered place where those energies were now going to be realigned or your perspective on self was going to be repositioned? What's that innermost felt sensation that our listeners could just be aware of as a possibility? Not to say that that's how it always shows up for everyone by any means, but but when we can share examples of how it, what to feel for when it's happening, you'll know you're on track when, these kinds of things are actually happening when this transformation is occurring, where we're establishing right relationship with our world, with the body, with self, with the world, with the universe, with God, with cosmos, what have you.
Mm.
When it's happening, how does that feel? How am I going to
Mm.
know I'm hitting the target?
Oh, that's a great question. What is the somatic experience? The
Yeah.
somatic experience is settled. There's a settling that you didn't know was in your body because your body has adapted to being how you were. So the moment you experience it, oh, whoa, I've never felt this like grounded and settled. There's no more buzzing. I didn't know I was living 25, 30 years with buzzing. I was just like, oh, this is me, you know? Maybe in the beginning I felt uncomfortable, but my body adapted. The body's incredible. It'll adapt to anything. It'll adapt to a rock on your shoe every single day. It'll just grow a callus, you know? And that settled nature of like, I don't need anything from anyone. I'm okay. Everything's okay. Everything will be okay. Just think of everyone viewing
Mhm.
and listening like if you had a attachment figure, you were blessed enough to have a mom or dad who you were able to run to as a kid, and you can go to their arms and they'll hold you and they go, everything's good. It's okay. I'm here. I'm here. That feeling of like, okay, everything's good. I'm taken care of.
Mhm.
That experience where you, oh, oh, okay,
Mhm.
everything's good. Wow, everything's okay. I'm okay. That's the feeling, the true settled.
So is there a physical description?
Hmm.
Settled is maybe someone can understand or relate to that felt sense of being settled. Is there like a physical description of
Hmm.
anything that you can share?
Yeah, I would say that ironically, you may feel heavier in your body. Your feet may feel heavier. You'll feel more that like, whoa, like my feet are on the ground. I'm here. I'm here. Your heart, if you suffer with anxiety, is going to stop beating so fast. Your hands, which was a big one for me, weren't clam anymore. They were just kind of dry. And I was like, wow, I've had clammy hands since I was a kid. I remember this was a thing in elementary school I would complain to my mom about, you know?
Yeah.
So the whole system, right? The heart's beating, less brain fog for people suffering with brain fog. You're just kind of more in HD. Things are more
Mhm.
clear. The emotional experience is a lot more of a connection. You just feel like you can see a flower and that you want to be with the flower. It's not like you're with the flower and you have to go to the next thing. You kind of want to see the details in the flower. And actually, you can maybe, just maybe, feel the flower right in your heart. Like you can
Mhm.
receive whatever the flower is giving you in the heart. Whoa, that's such a different experience for people who are not in their body and who are not settled, who are in the adrenaline, the anxiety, or even in the exhaustion. They're going to see a flower. They're either going to move through it because they don't have time to do it, or they just don't feel comfortable stopping, or they're just going to be
Mhm.
too tired and I can't see a flower right now. I have to go back home. I want to lay down. I'm depressed, right? Whoa, can you actually see a flower? And then what about a human? All these things start unfolding. Connection for me is when you can feel connected, truly seeing something for what it is and feeling that something that it's giving you, the flower, the bug, what is it giving you in the body? What do you feel? That for me is a huge telltale sign that your body's transforming physically, mentally, emotionally, relationally, behaviorally, everything.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So when someone is having to, they're recognizing that their body is locked up and they're in this protective state, and they may be recognizing they've been living this way all their lives, and what does it take to make that shift into a surrendered state where I would actually be able to become more present and feel these things in the physical body. It's like,
Mm,
what happens right there where I've been locked in fight or flight, I've had clammy hands all
yeah.
my life, whatever. And now I want to be able to feel my body melt on the inside. I want to feel that softening. I want to feel that heavy presence and connection to the earth, and feel the beauty of gravity actually influencing me in an involuntary way. I want that. What happens between those two? What do you think is required for someone to make a shift to, even in that real time moment, remember there's an alternative. There's something else I could be experiencing here in this
Yeah.
now moment.
Yeah. The nervous system has to get the signal that it doesn't have to survive or protect itself. And that's an internal signal and it's an external signal. It's, is the world safe? Am I safe? The latter, the safety with self, it's really important that you begin to lean into the things that you don't feel safe doing, meaning like singing or dancing or drawing, singing some more. You have to come back to the things that you think are so trivial that you did as a kid so naturally, right? For me, one of the fastest ways to connect people back to themselves is to do those things. Sing from the body, sing from the belly, create art from the body with no expectation, anything. Make it the messiest art you've ever made. And dance with the body, not from the head, from the body. Those three things start to connect people back somatically to spirit, to
Mhm.
soul, to the body, to movement. The signals outside, there's nothing better than nature. There's nothing better than nature. Even if you are in anxiety and you can't even be present, go to nature for 35 days straight. On the 35th day, you're going to notice you'll be way more settled than you were on day one. And you can actually listen to the waves, or you can hear the birds, or you can feel your feet better, right? You can feel your spine a little more straight. You can feel your butt a little bit more on the sand if you're sitting on the sand or a park bench. All of a sudden, the signals from nature, not just being in nature and definitely not being on your phone in nature, right? You don't need to be on a
Mhm.
walk with anyone. Go by yourself and connect back. Nature has an incredible, it's the most powerful thing. It will know exactly what to do with the signals that it's giving you. It's almost unfightable. If you show up in nature every single day, multiple days, a little bit more than a month, you're going to notice a massive change. 2 months, you're a different person. It's because nature is so intelligent. And then you
Mhm.
choose to connect with nature. When you start feeling the capacity with, like, okay, I want to stay with that wave, that sound of the wave. I want to stay with it for 10 seconds, just fully with the wave for 10 seconds. Notice what that does to your system. For me, it's animals. We have the Venice canals here. I go every single day. I'll stare at a duck for like 10 minutes straight. I swear I'm a duck expert. I know their behaviors and everything, because I know that when I look at animals, other life forms moving, the moment I divert my eyes and go back to my walk, I'm 10 notches more settled than I was. It's the fastest thing for me. But I found what works for me. Maybe someone needs water. Maybe someone just needs to lay on earth like I did this morning. All of the
Mm.
things, those are signals outside. And the last signal, which is really hard for people, is connection to people, strangers in particular. If you have protected yourself and gotten the signal that, and this is a signal that I got growing up in New York, you got to protect yourself against people. Don't make eye contact with them, right? It's just, I lived in a place that was very, you know, it was on edge. And so I needed to rechange my experience that people are safe. So what did I learn to do? Feel my feet as I'm walking towards a person in the street. Any fear or hesitation goes out of my feet. Feel my spine standing up strong so I have my strength. And then the most important part, feel my awareness in my heart and feel my heart actually beating and envision it opening. So then when someone comes, I'm able to have my 3 checkpoints in line and go, good morning. Just saying good morning was hard enough for me. I'd divert my eyes. I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to see anyone. Do you know, Dr. Sue, that was one of the most potent things in my life, to feel safe, not only witnessing and acknowledging people, but using my voice to strangers. Hi, good morning.
Mm.
Beautiful dog. I love your outfit. Things that were never natural for me. What did that do? rechange the fascia nervous system's experience with the outside world, going, you're protected, you're safe, everything's okay. A
Mm.
huge alarm system went off. And that was actually one of the biggest changes in my experience. But it helped so many of my patients too. You wouldn't believe how many people don't feel safe around people.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would believe it. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
was one of those people. I slept on the
Mm-hmm.
floor of my closet as a kid growing up. I was terrified of life. I hid
Mm-hmm.
behind my mom's skirt the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
all of it. And I really appreciate what you're speaking into right now, that when we are in a comfortable state, we want to engage with people. We want to share. We want
Yes.
to, it's our nature to connect and to be in the celebration of life. And so it's so fascinating how this mind, body, breath triad, it's so important that all aspects of that are in the lead at different times. Like sometimes people want to change their mind so that they can, they learn these ideas and they want to change their mind so that they can change their body and their health, etc. And sometimes changing your body, your positioning, your engagement, your awareness can actually change your mind. You can go in the front door, you can go in the back door, just get inside. It doesn't matter how we go about this. And sometimes you can just use the breath to allow yourself to feel yourself in the body if you pay attention to your body breathing low in the belly, and that will change your mind. And so if we are aware that, if I can't get in one way, I can get in another way. And when I begin to allow those three components to support one another, then I realize that it's not all up to my mind. If someone's freaking out or they're depressed or they're super shy or they're just super intimidated about life, becoming confident seems completely inaccessible. But if you just start paying attention to how your feet feel in your shoes when you're walking, that's an interesting thing. And so I always instruct people to, drop your attention in 2 feet into the earth from where you're standing. If you're walking down the sidewalk, there's a part of you that's actually in the earth. There's the energetics of it all. When we study bioenergetics, we realize that we're so much bigger than our physical body, that we can start utilizing the rest of who we are in this invisible way to our advantage. And then to feel the strength, just rise up through your legs from your feet, or from below your feet, up through your feet, up your legs, up your spine. I loved your relation there, that just saying, then you feel you can feel your heart. And I was going to ask you, what do you feel that the role of love is in this whole process for people? I came from a history of physical medicine, of the physical body and the alignment of the spine and the function of the nervous system and that kind of thing. You came through therapy and the mind and talk therapy perspective, and here we are talking about this meeting place where all of this is really one thing that needs to work together. And so I know the role of love in the work that I'm doing is monumental, but from the standpoint of psychology, even in that facet of your background, what is the role of love, and how does someone tap into that to have it support their healing integration?
Mm. Yeah, it is the embodiment expression that is the most healing. It's the most healing. It is the signal to the nervous system that you're safe, you can be, and not only that, you can thrive. So the cells are receiving those signals. The genetic code in the cells is receiving those signals. The whole system is harmonizing when someone is in that experience of love. And the one thing that really stood out on the last thing you said is the connection. And we are not only equipped, wired to want to connect, but in connection, we begin to remember ourselves as love. When we take down our walls and have true connection with someone, even if it's a conversation with a stranger sitting down on a park bench, we can feel love alive in us. Everyone's wired for that. Even the people that we see in media who don't look like they're wired for that, there's something inside of them that has been so abandoned. But I promise you, if someone had the choice of love or fear, deep fear, somatic fear, high love, somatic love, everyone would choose love if they really knew what it felt like. And so the role of love from the aspect of just physical healing. It is the vibration. We talk about health so much, and health is the embodiment of your soul's expression in human form. And what is that embodiment and that expression? Is love. It's love. It's expressing your joy. It's people being magnetized towards you and your joy, and singing and dancing and art and creation, whatever the heck you were doing in this world, and people feeling that inside of them as love, as connection, more love, more connection. It sounds like this pipe dream, and like, oh, it's all love. But at the end of the day, it kind of is. When we move through all those boulders,
Yeah.
guess what starts coming more to the
Right.
surface? Guess what
Yeah.
is love. It starts coming more. The shame goes, the guilt integrates, it all integrates. Love comes to the surface. Your capacity to not only give but receive love starts arising more and more. Each time you integrate, starts arising more and more.
Yes, yes. Isn't it so fascinating that we live in a world that won't just honor that right up front, that we have to work through so many layers and so many layers down into the system until we finally say, okay, at the end of the day,
At the
it's
end of the
really
day.
about love, you know. But nobody allows that to be the lead in the conversation, because people just tune it out, because we think that it has to be more complicated. We think that it has to be more sophisticated.
Oh my
We
God,
can't
I
possibly
know.
imagine that something so diffuse as love could actually change my life. But when we get the left brain to align with it through the knowledge that, you know, things like what you're sharing, that it starts to soften down, and it starts to realize, oh yeah, it's all, there's a bigger picture. There's a bigger picture. There's
That's
a bigger
right.
picture. We eventually get to this biggest picture that is, you know, you belong, you are loved, and when you are loving, you get to experience your belongingness, your
Yeah.
unification with the whole of nature and the whole of life. So
Yes.
it's so
Yes.
fascinating,
You know,
right?
I'm in this space of, everything, like all things medicine. And there's a lot of people who want to live longer. So longevity medicine has become huge, and
Yeah.
there's people making so much money on selling so many products to live longer. And I've met many of them. I see them. I can read people very easily. And it's like, holy moly. At the end of the day, and it's actually one longevity influencer is now starting to talk a little more like this because they have a psychedelic experience. They just putting their foot in the door. You know what's going to happen? At the end of the day, when these longevity, wellness doctors, influencers are in their final 20 years or 10 years of life, they're going to realize, oh my God, it was all about connection and love. And wow, I just needed a deeper relationship with my brother and my dad and my mom and my partner and my kids.
Right.
At the end of the
Right.
day, all hundreds of
Yeah.
thousands of dollars of all the things to live longer for what? What are you living longer for if you cannot even experience the connection, the depth of
Right.
love? That's at the end of the
Right.
day. Give me deep love for 20 more years of my life versus 50 more years of never feeling love.
Exactly. Exactly. It's beautiful. Maybe we need to do a podcast together called At the End of the Day.
At the end of the day, right? At the
At
end
the
of the
end of the
day,
day, here's
this
what's
is
going
the
to matter
truth.
most. Let's
Yeah,
just cut to the chase and go
that's
there
it.
now.
That's it. That's it.
So, Dr. G, what, if someone was just completely feeling overwhelmed and disconnected and they're
Mm,
stuck in their body and their life, what would you want them to know?
mm. That there is no part of you that is inaccessible. The healing is accessible for everyone. That you always have been and can be deeply connected to something bigger than you. And you don't have to climb a giant mountain. You don't. You just have to connect back with the deepest parts of you that want to be seen. That, yeah, it's scary to do that. But I promise you, the more that you unfold, the more that everything you're looking for outside of you begins to surface naturally and organically. That's the most beautiful gift. And the world needs it. We need the
Hmm.
viewers and listeners to be their embodiment of all the keyboard. Inspire us with all of your light. Inspire us with your darkness. Integrating that into light. Make art, make love, make all the things. Remind us of who we are just by you being you. You don't have to work at it, just be you. Remove the boulders and be you. And it's easy to say, but the work is kind of difficult, but it's okay. You'll go through it. But what arises is a new version of you that is everything that you've wanted to be.
Yeah, beautiful. So before we wrap up, I'd love for you to just share how our listeners can connect with you, with your work, etc.
Yeah.
Anything you
So
can share with us there?
you did a podcast on the Heal Thyself show. That is my podcast. I've been doing it since 2019. I don't know, maybe 400 shows are out. We've been doing it a lot. We love it. I love it. I talk a lot about, I have a whole nother hat that I wear, and that's just like reviewing products in the health and wellness space. I have Dr. G Reviews YouTube. Um, Really, one of my favorite projects that I have is a membership. It's called the Human Home. And it's like the cost of a yoga class, but we just launched it, and what I'm doing is I'm guiding people every week with prompts that go to their phone or their email on how to connect to self and the outside world, people, nature, self, things we talked about. And then we do one live event a month that is awesome. They go through processes, and people cry and people yell, but it's wonderful. That's where the Human Home. It's all in the link in my bio. Dr. Gonzalez, DOCTOR Gonzalez with a Z at the end on Instagram. That's where we communicate. And yeah, a new website is coming up, so just sit tight. That's why I'm not saying it. And anyone can reach out to me. I'm really good at responding back. And look, thanks for having me. You giving me a platform to say the things that are on my heart. What? I forgot how much I love doing podcasts. I got to do more now.
Absolutely. I just published a new book, The Anatomy of Awakening. It's now available. Just last week, it just came out.
Wow.
We made the New York Times bestseller list. We're
What?
number one on USA
Congratulations.
Today. Yes, thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's been amazing. It's been an amazing response. And Publishers Weekly number one, USA Today number one. It was just
You need to come back
crazy.
on the
New York
show.
Times.
Come back on the
Okay,
show.
I'll
We
be
need to
there.
talk. Yeah, we need to tell the audience.
I will love to, love to, love to. So thank you for coming here today and being with us. And I also just want to thank our listeners for spending your time with us here today on the Art of Awakening podcast, where we're always blending science and spirituality to create a life that you truly, truly love living. Dr. G, I can't wait to have another conversation. Let's dive in. I'm coming to LA before too long, so we'll make it happen. If it works for you, my friend. Thank you for being here. And you guys check him out. He's a great guy and very wise beyond his years. So
Thank you, everyone.
until next time, everyone, blessings to you all. I'm Dr. Sue Morter, and I will see you again next time on the Art of Awakening podcast. Bye-bye for now.